there was a lot of discussion online about the lack of critical analysis in tabletop RPGs, especially when compared to how much critique and criticism and how much work there is in video games, right? And the specific stuff that I saw was, how can we have all these critics and stuff like this for video games, but not for tabletop RPGs? And the industry is big enough where we should have some sort of critical analysis.
Yes.
Oh boy. No, it's not. So I'm gonna be. No, it's not.
Okay.
It's not big enough. The tabletop RPG is not big enough to support it, in my opinion. And there's another reason why. We're gonna get into this in a second. This is gonna get us salty. Go ahead.
So this industry is not like the video game industry, right? Where we have a lot of different developer teams all working on things and bringing them out. Which hold the anger there for a second, because I do know that we have a lot of independent developers. We have, for TTRPGs, we have a lot of people that have a lot of passion for these games and literally live, breathe, eat, and sleep making these games, right? I'm sitting right next to one. However, the industry that tabletop RPGs consistently exists in is one that is held up by like 4 major developers, give or take, right? Ish. So, and you have one that consistently throws elbows and Pinkertons.
They throw Pinkertons.
So it is very difficult to be able to do critical analysis, especially on this industry right now, because you are either going to be punching up at the bigger developers and possibly get punched back down on, or you're going to be punching sideways or down at the indie creators, which is not conducive to making more creative things.
So this is where I will go. 2 reasons. In order for there to be deep critical analysis within the tabletop RPG industry, you have to have professionals who are doing that analysis.
Yes.
Those people need to make money. Those people need to live, and you bloody people won't pay for it. So that's number 1.
I mean,
straight up. If you won't pay for the service in which somebody is going to give you
critical analysis
and build a publication and build this stuff, sorry, it's just not going to happen. Number 2, this industry is about this big, okay? It's tiny, this big. And unfortunately, to a degree, and fortunately to a degree, and speaking as somebody who's been around the cons and the publishing and things like that, everybody knows everybody, right? And so consequently, what ends up happening is, let's say that I critique, Taylor writes the Wildling tabletop RPG. Okay? I'm not saying Taylor, by the way, caveat, I'm not saying Taylor would actually do this, but I've seen this happen in this industry. Taylor writes the Wildling tabletop RPG. Okay? Jim Bob Scott, he writes a critical analysis of that, right? And maybe overall he thinks it's pretty good,
but might be crunchy.
But may make some
recommendations.
Some recommendations or some critiques on that. Most of the people in this industry, the way they'll react to that person is, fuck you, you're blacklisted. I will not talk to you, I will not deal with you, and by the way, I may send my fans after you, right? And that's straight up what's happening. Lately, the tabletop RPG industry has been especially
toxic,
vitriolic toward one another. They're eating each other.
Yes.
Right? And so the reason there's no critical analysis is, if a writer at IGN says, hey, this game's a 6 out of 10 and here's why, that's not going to end their career.
No.
Right? But when Jim Bob Scott writes a semi-critical thing and says Wildly Only RPG is a 6 out of 10. Wildly Only RPG creator Taylor, who knows 7 other creators because we all know each other, right, goes, don't talk to that guy, don't send him review copies, he sucks, he doesn't know what he's talking about. And that's what happens. That's legit what happens in this industry.
With that said, I personally would not do that. I would probably meme on that, and that's why I'm the elderly purple-haired person.
Taylor wouldn't do that. I'm saying, and I'm not saying Taylor would do this. I'm saying
this is an example of what happens.
Within the tabletop RPG industry, this is what happens, right? And so, this is where it is. Yeah, you'd think press and studios would be trying to pump each other up. And then we get to the second piece of it, is that if you write something positive and they think they're pumping up, and because everybody in this industry knows each other, right? Now you're a shill for this person. You're just saying that because they're your friend. It's not actually a critical analysis. Like, that's the flip side to this coin. Unfortunately, that's just how it happens.
I'm wondering if it wouldn't be best for critical analysis of TTRPGs to exist completely off the online space. Like, if we did not have, right, I know, and it was very possibly a constructive space, right?
Well, I remember it.
Yeah. I think that because of the way that our fan bases and content creators both access the internet and create those parasocial relationships, I think that it makes it very much more difficult.
I'm sorry, can you say that one more time for those in the back?
Huh?
Parasocial?
Parasocial relationships?
Yep.
So even as a content creator myself, I've streamed on Twitch for quite a long time. It is very daunting, especially when you start creating a community that very much absolutely supports you. Let's go. Like, that's great and I love it. But also there is a darker side to that because there are times where instead of feeling protected or defended by those people because somebody says something about you in an offhanded way or whatever, that you have to instead go, okay, guys, mob mentality, calm down.
Yeah.
Because you are attacking somebody over this
X, Y, and
comment
Z.
that I personally do not feel is worth it.
And this is where this whole thing has fallen apart a lot lately. Somebody in the chat says the interwebs is how word gets out these days. And exactly.
Legit.
And here's the thing, as a tabletop RPG publisher and as somebody who does this job, and Taylor talks about this, my wife talks to me about this all the time, I have to exist perpetually online. Like, here's the thing, it's super hard. It's super draining a lot of the times. It's also why I have to watch stupid thing. Yes, in fact, somebody else brought up the AEG stuck their foot in their mouth. Yes, and that's kind of part of what I'm talking about. And the problem is we exist in this online space. And Taylor and I were actually talking about this incident before, and I'm not going to go into deep diving. And in fact, he just issued a statement on this, an apology. I think that I understand what he was trying to say. Twitter was not the location to say that. And also, you're typing on Twitter on your phone, and you're doing these long things, and you're not going to get the message out that you're trying to get out.
Well, it's like trying to have nuance in text messages, right?
Bingo. Parasocial relationships. A bunch of people have been like, Para, what's it? A parasocial relationship occurs in this way. And I'm actually going to use T-Swift fans.
Yeah, Swifties are actually a very good saying. Don't come after us, Swifties. We have no beef.
Swifties, and Taylor Swift is an expert at this, right? She has developed a strong parasocial. And what that means is every hardcore super T-Swifty fan thinks that they are just one meeting away from being Taylor's best friend.
Right.
Right? It's having this pseudo-social relationship that is one-sided with somebody that you see online, that you have this or exists in fan creating a connection with the person like an influencer.
Yes.
And it's the fan creating that. Now here's the thing. A lot of people like Taylor Swift, a lot of influencers, they are attempting to cultivate parasocial relationships to a level because that's what keeps people watching their content.
Yes, but it takes a lot of energy.
It does.
It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of boundary enforcement, and it also can turn very sour very fast if you are not intelligent about it.
So anyway, that's why that's why it's very difficult to have all this critical analysis. And again, the tabletop RPG industry is a good example of this. There's a lot of very parasocial relationships.
Yes. And very tightly connected people within the TTRPG space. I mean, I got to table or help, do the Identico booth at ECCC, and I cannot count the amount of people who came through on those days and were like, hey, how are Mallow and Alex? Like, where are they? Are they up doing the RPG right now? Like, should I go and run the game with them? And like, they will stop by, and they have known each other for years because it has been such a well-established place. It's not a bad thing. No, it's difficult. It's difficult because we definitely exist in a space where having reasonable critique that is constructive, right, is not always taken as such. It is taken as a personal slight, which is very difficult to delineate between, especially online and especially through Twitter. Yes. Oh my goodness. So that's something we're gonna leave the tabletop RPG one. Hey nerds, thanks for watching. Visit gamersheavenpnw.com for our merch store, which you can get cool shirts like this and rep some of my awesome art. Also, like and subscribe for more content so we can make more videos for you.